Hello, everybody, and welcome back after a brief hiatus to Underworld Contacts. I am your host and MC, Dan, otherwise known as Code Marvelous, and I am joined by the intrepid band of professionals that makes up our cast. Why don't we go around and reintroduce ourselves and our characters, and then we'll jump right into the last bits of planning for our first mission and get right to the action. So why don't we go from Derek, and then we'll go clockwise from there.
I'm Derek. I'm playing Harlan, DN4. I forget what all the garbage is. He's a bioroid. He's an infiltrator.
Okay.
He's barely conscious.
Hi, I'm Patrick. I'm playing Trank. He is a fixer.
I'm Ryan. I'm playing Silver, and he's a killer.
Hi, I'm playing Analog. My name's Chris. She's our hacker.
Nice. And this is the Glasses cast. Welcome back. But yeah, so if you haven't watched, I'm going to put in the show notes after the episode, the previous episode. So in the SprawlRPG, which is the cyberpunk RPG that we're playing, it's made by Hamish Cameron. Check it out. Really, the sessions, which would normally be about 4 hours, are broken down into two distinct parts. You have the legwork phase, which we completed in the last session, where we research the target of the job, the complications of the job, and make a plan of attack. And then the second half of the session is the mission itself, where you get to the action, you try to achieve the mission objectives against the target. Then there's various payoffs and consequences that come with that. Now, normally that would be about 4 hours, but due to the constraints of time zones and work schedules, most of these episodes are going to be two-parters, where we'll do 1 2-hour session for legwork and one approximately 2-hour session for the mission itself. So we're on the first mission, which is dubbed Haastage situation, because it's directed against capturing a Haastage employee. So when last we had met our professionals, they had taken on this job to extract Damien Magnuson, a cyberbrain researcher for Haastage, basically the person who designs the artificial brains that power bioroids such as Harlan and give them their uncanny, thus far unreplicatable artificial intelligence. They're trying to extract him from the Space Elevator Authority, otherwise known as C, which is one of our corporations that we made in Session 0. And they are selling him back to Haastage after he defected from Haastage. So someone, an unknown third party, has hired the group to make sure that he does not get returned to Haastage and instead is delivered to a third-party safe house to be picked up by another group. Does that about cover it, would you guys say?
I'd say so.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit, and I want you guys mostly to say in your own words. I'll just be here to remind you if you don't remember any of the specifics. Let's talk a little bit about some of the information that y'all dug up and the plan of attack that you guys came up with, both on-screen and off-screen in the intervening time.
The target is being held in a large support structure which has habitable spaces inside, accessible from the main mezzanine of the route concourse. At the appointed time, they will take this conduit down to a sub-basement level where there will be a motorcade waiting. They will use this motorcade to transport the target through the Undercity to the safe house, at which time he will be handed over to Haastage employees.
And it looks like the contact is Jonathan Marks from Global Sec that will be receiving the package.
Okay.
The safe house beneath the beanstalk is in a little slums area and is a kind of abandoned warehouse or apartment building that's being used to hole up and accept prisoners and that sort of thing. The local gangs around the area have already been paid off by either Haastage or SEA and refused an offer from us to help out.
We in our last session, we also were able to acquire credentials to be able to pose as maintenance workers. It'll hopefully help us get behind the scenes to be able to ambush whichever way they're taking this package.
All right. And speaking of that element, so there's two possible routes that they could take. They could either use a motorcade on the ground level or take one of the service trams that goes around one of the lowest level promenades on the Beanstalk. That's mostly for the Beanstalk's actual maintenance employees, and then go down and take an elevator closer to the actual safe house and just basically either walk him there. Now, there was some discussion in between sessions about trying to basically block off one of the routes and force them into one specific route. Do we want to talk a little bit about that and how much we want to kind of dig in on that as a possible option?
If the motorcade can be disabled directly, it would present the smallest risk to the team.
Mm-hmm. We also thought that if we could get them into the trams, having the public around would make things more difficult for them and maybe give us some anonymity.
I don't think Silver particularly cares about this, but I'm pretty excited then for a train heist.
Well, I mean, both of those options are valid. Just some concerns to think about. If you are, if you're on the motorcade, there's obviously a much higher opportunity for them to use very serious violence and damage against you because they have less concerns of witnesses or collateral. However, on the train, if witnesses and collateral become a problem, then it's going to become a problem for not just the court, but also you as well.
Yeah, I believe
you too can be arrested for bystander deaths.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest we use that to our advantage.
Earlier we had talked about the possibility of trying to retrieve the package at the safe house, but I think we decided that would be too dangerous with basically two sets of goons to deal with.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, in this scene you're all in... Do we ever go over... Do you guys have like a formal safe house? Does anybody have that as part of their sheet?
I think we decided that it was simply Crime Incorporated.
It's a big sign.
No,
I don't.
You're
I don't
in like a
have one.
secluded area of Yucca You've all had one coffee. The barista's looking at you angrily, having been in the store for over 4 hours. No. Yeah, we'll say basically that you guys rented out some sort of hotel, like cheap motel room, something where you can rent it more anonymously, and you guys have basically been holed up doing the planning, and you have all the items and things spread around. So you're all having this kind of final planning conversation there. So let's start thinking about jumping into character. So what do you do? What is the plan of attack that we're going to move forward with?
So I think Analog is gonna try and get into CDOT and try and block off some of the routes underneath the Beanstalk. Security gates, spike traps for the tires, all that.
So
the vehicles could also be disabled remotely using their native internet connections.
It's a good idea.
If they are expecting that the motorcade plan will proceed smoothly and they're unable to do so, they will not be able to respond with full efficiency. If at that time, Trank and Silver are on the tram with a maintenance crew using their false credentials, they can easily confront the team when they attempt to make the transfer using the tram
How will you have us confront the just head on, or it's a stealth mission? How are we handling this?
Both. I will travel on the outside of the train, passing behind the corporate group, enter the train, and while they are confronting Silver and Trank, using whatever force they deem appropriate, I will extract the target and escape the train.
That sounds good to me.
Escape the train. Yeah, I mean that's a plan. So the basic mission is to try to knock them off balance by at the last minute removing the options of the cars so that they're forced to kind of regroup and move onto the train.
Indeed.
Okay.
We do not have the advantage of numbers. Our only advantage is in surprise and keeping the team off balance and preventing them from using the full extent of their resources and manpower. In a closed confined environment where their ability to bring the majority of their team will be limited, that offers our best chance to even the odds.
I agree.
Yep.
All right. So
we had discussed getting a cheap van pulling some of our cred. Is that still on the table?
Indeed. We will need a means to make our escape.
yeah, and we'll also need to make a decision who's going to be with the van and where approximately that van's going to be at the start of the mission. So
that's probably something Analog will do, since she can hack remotely. She can kind of sit there with the van.
all right, so 2 characters are going to need to pony up a cred each, or one person's going to have to pony up 2 cred to secure a van that's not going to be able to be traced back to you.
I can give one.
I can give one as well.
Go ahead and mark that on your sheets, gentlemen.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. And where are you going to be? Just somewhere along the route? Are you going to be parked at the destination station?
What do you guys think?
It will need to be somewhere along the route. I will not be able to complete the train's... I will not be able to arrive along with the train at its destination.
All right. Let's shoot for 2/3 of the way through the route, so in case shit hits the fan, I can drive to the edge, at the end of the route.
Yep.
That is correct.
What is the name of the station that we will be meeting at?
Well, we'll say
Beacon
that
Town?
the maintenance station that they're going to be coming from is just like CM1, like it's like the primary service entrance, and then the station that they're going to is like M3 or M4. It's like 2 stops down. Because this is on a purely maintenance level. So there are civilians, but it's mostly like Wayland, like construction and engineering staff, and like where like back end stuff for actually servicing the beanstalk, and the route is loaded, out of the public eye. Like the tunnels underneath Disney World.
Okay.
All right.
So is the plan, once we get on the train, for us to start some kind of commotion and then for Harlan to grab the target in the mix-up, or I don't really get what we're doing once we get onto the train?
I think that's where Silver comes in.
Should I start a fight?
Yeah. You could start one with me even.
I mean,
with them.
You could start a fight with the
rude.
guards, assuming you're suitably disguised.
Yeah, all you need is a pair of glasses. Completely different person.
Hang on a second. There we go.
No, now you're now you're Superman.
My silver skin is that doesn't matter. Just glasses will work fine.
Yeah, comb your hair a bit differently.
I'm that other guy with silver skin.
Okay, so the first thing we've got to do once we actually get into the mission phase is where I want to explain a little bit about how things work going forward. In the actual mission, whenever there is a failed roll on your part, I get the ability to potentially advance the mission clock, but I always also get to use some sort of hard move. And that can be escalating the mission clock and taking a hard move against you, or it can be various other things that I'll always be very transparent about. When you get a mixed success, as part of the complications, there's various soft moves that I can take against you, or I can give you the option to take the escalation of the mission clock over the soft consequence. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But if we get to 1200 on the mission clock, so if this final box becomes full on the mission clock, unless you're like literally driving away when that happens, the mission immediately ends with you being overwhelmed with force, or basically being locked down in such a way that the mission can't be successful. So just be advised. And also, as the mission clock goes up, there's an increased likelihood that corporation clocks will be significantly affected by the outcome of the mission regardless. Does that make sense?
Yep. So roll well.
Well, or roll smart and work together.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys are always telling me what your characters do. I don't roll dice. I don't control when bad things happen. You guys control when bad things happen. All right. So I think the first thing we got to do is we got to disable the cars, right?
Yep. So I'm gonna try
what it's like. What is Analog's rig like? You move it into the van. You set it up. Are you like a reclining hacker, right? Are you hunched over the computer?
Hunched over the computer seems about right. She's got her Taco Hut tacos, a big giant soda on the other side, ready to do some damage.
Mountain Dew Code Red?
Yep.
All right, and so you jump into the Matrix.
Yep, I'm gonna do a little... Let me get my thing up. Log in, which is a synth roll.
All right. Roll that beautiful hacking footage.
And...
That's not bad.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's a 9.
Yep.
So describe to me what it looks like, because, we kind of got a theme the first time. Talk to me about what it looks like when you jump into the system.
How would she want this done? I imagine it's kind of like in Star Wars when they hit hyperdrive, just like the lights start just going right by them and slows down in front of basically like a wireframe of these vehicles.
Okay. So you also have to pick one, either a passive trace, so I'm one towards you on the trace clock, the piece of ice is activated, an alert is triggered, which advances the mission clock, or your access is restricted and you take -1 ongoing while in this system.
I will take one passive trace.
Okay, so what's your dex stealth rating?
It is currently a 6, which moves down to 5. Analog is very conscientious of her anonymity online.
Okay, yeah, you're very sneaky. All right, so you're in.
So now, do my little console cowboy roll.
Okay.
Which is mind roll.
Oh, yep. Go ahead and you just click the mind on your actual sheet.
All right. So that's a
perfectly average roll. That's a...
Yep.
A 9 as well.
That'll give me 1 hold to
Nice.
use as I see fit.
Awesome. Okay, so what are you going to do?
I'm going to try and implant a firmware update that basically bricks the cars for a bit.
Okay. And
So-
it's just going to make it so that the cars don't work?
Yeah, it's just going to give them that little loading symbol. So that seems like a fun thing to do to them.
Okay. So go
So
ahead.
this would be I'm guessing, would you compromise security or
Manipulate
manipulate systems?
I think manipulate systems makes more sense, right?
All right, yep. And I'm going to spend that hold just because I think this is...
Pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah, so put that in the forward.
And 9. Okay, yep.
I'll
That'll
do it.
that'll do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
I literally just
now-
got a pop-up that my computer needs to restart, and I'm like, no, you're doing that later.
oh,
It was
Sorry,
analog.
yeah.
So what's going to happen is the wireframes of the cars are going to fill out into like a cell-shaded abstract representation of them.
Mhm.
And then since you've got this whole like analog thing going, I'm going to have it be that you do the program and these boots, like 20th century style boots, appear on one of the wheels of each of the cars, and then the actual circular part of the boot is a little countdown clock, like the spool loading symbol,
Okay.
that's slowly ticking down before the firmware update is complete.
The little spinning
Sounds
beach
good.
ball of death.
Yep.
How's that sound?
Wonderful.
All right, so you've still got a hold from the manipulate system, so why don't you do your jack out roll?
I think I only need to do that if I'm about to be damaged by ice.
Okay, so you just want to take the time and just back out of the system and come out of hyperspace?
Yep.
Perfect.
And get a nice big drink of that code red.
Yeah, that code red, that Mountain Dew code red. All right, so you're come back into the van, and there's just the light hum of the. No, it wouldn't even be a radio, but of the communication devices, and you have basically like the camera feeds on everybody's either glasses or whatever headsets they're wearing, so you can keep track of them.
So we can communicate as a team all the time, right? That
Yeah.
technology is pretty
This
basic.
this game assumes that like you have you're not an idiot and like everyone's wearing a communication device. Like we don't have to roll for a communication device. It's assumed that if you're criminal professionals, you guys have headsets or earpieces. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. So I was gonna say, the cars are not working. So I'll let you know if that changes.
Yeah. And I'm gonna start a clock for that.
Okay.
And give me a second. I have a weak, no one near your level, but I have a weak sys operative who will start working on that, chipping away at that. All right. So while we clip away from analog in the car, taking a big straw suction pull of the code red, we move up to now. Harlan, you're not with Trank and Silver, right? You're going onto the train, trying to go unnoticed with the other service bioroids, right?
Correct. Let's use that plan. It will take less of a role than trying to infiltrate using my stealth suit.
Do
Which
you want
I
to
do-
use your stealth suit?
I think it will be easier to simply board the train doing nothing at all unusual other than walking on board, carrying my bag of tools and my nondescript coveralls.
Yeah.
and my perfectly valid ID.
Yeah. I mean, you're a licensed corporate person.
Yes.
All right, perfect. So we moved to Harlan. What do you? So you've got your overalls and everything. As far as a Bioroid is concerned, describe how much like synth skin you have versus like metal and like visible like metal composite pieces.
Harlan's chassis is bordering on a metal skeleton that has been dipped in sort of a soft mauve-covered latex. He's extremely minimal, even by Bioroid standards. His joints have a very disturbing range of motion to them. He's not extraordinarily strong, but he is extremely flexible and has good agility. His overall meat attribute is 1, but his cool and edge are 2 and 1 respectively, reflecting him being more of an agility-based character rather than a sheer metal.
Right. So you're
cyber.
not a Bioroid that's been designed to pass as a person. You're clearly a Bioroid designed for a specific job purpose, and that job is not
correct
one that requires you to look or pass as much as you can as a human.
Indeed, and when he's not wearing clothing, his skin has extremely visible seams and tiles to it. When he speaks, the panels on his face open up a little bit like Dr. Poison in Wonder Woman, and you can sort of see like little hydraulics peeking out. It's a little bit Uncanny Valley-ish to people who hang out with him. But suffice it to say, there's no spot check in the world that is going to fail to notice that he's a robot.
Yeah, that's a robot. Okay, yeah, perfect. Trank, what about you? How are you outfitted right now? What do you look like right now?
I feel like he's quite a unique. He's got a bit of a unique look, so he's trying to tone it down a little bit to blend in more with the crowd, and so his hair's probably tied up in a ponytail, and he's got the standard maintenance overalls on with the ID on the outside, just to kind of cover up all of the more like he's probably got a lot of tattoos and that kind of thing on his arms and stuff. But he has this jacket which is kind of a bulletproof thing, so he's got that on underneath the overalls, just to give himself a little bit of extra protection, and also to bulk himself out a little bit because he's quite a skinny guy. So he's trying to alter his appearance a little bit by making himself look a bit chunkier than he is, and also by playing with his hair a little bit and covering up some of his more distinguishing features.
Okay, and are you packing heat?
I believe I have a small gun of some description. Let me see. Where is it? Yeah, he's got a semi-automatic pistol.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And now, last but certainly not least, Silver, the man with the guns, figuratively and literally. What rolling with? What do you look like? What are you bringing with you?
I'm thinking that Trank probably convinced Silver to also put on overalls, which is kind of a ridiculous image. It's just big rectangle wearing overalls.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah, he does, and he's like, I look ridiculous. Like, he hates it, but that's what he's got to wear. And so, and then underneath, he's got body armor underneath, and then stowed away somewhere, he's got his automatic pistol. And I have it as a stat as a machete, but I'm thinking more just like large knife, future-looking knife thing that he's also got stashed away. And then I'm trying to think of how to get my big rifle in. I'm wondering if we had talked about bringing a big crate in order to get the guy out less conspicuously. I'm wondering if we can bring a crate that's false-bottomed with the rifle underneath. To be able to sneak that in, maybe with just some random tools and stuff on top.
You want to bring in like a like some sort of like big long like toolbox that you could fold up or break down your gun and like basically bury it in like wrenches and stuff.
Yeah, so that if it, like a security check, they'd have to look, excuse me, pretty close to be able to see that there's a gun in there.
Okay.
Sure.
With a short barrel and without the usual high-powered sight, and a sniper rifle is essentially just a deer rifle. So there's no reason why it can't just be stripped down to a carbine size.
Silver, what's your cool?
My cool is 0. I'm not very cool.
You're not very cool? Or what about your style?
But he did hack the CIA in 1988.
Yes, thank you.
My style is 1.
Okay. Why don't you do me a favor? When you get to the security checkpoint, they're scanning you, and obviously your toolbox trips the metal detector, and they're giving it a cursory glance. Roll fast talk as you're...
Thematically, I might have set up for Trank to fast talk for me, since that's sort of his deal. I'm not much of a fast talker.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Where's that? That is
You're like,
style.
Please carry the contraband for me, thank you.
I'm carrying it, but he's doing the talking. I'm just the ridiculous SpongeBob SquarePants.
It's okay. You probably look less out of place than he does in those overalls, because you look like somebody who does physical work for a living, whereas Trank is very slender and small in those clothes. You just look like a guy who works out way too much after working out all day at work.
Yeah.
All right, so Trank, why don't you roll fast talk to basically get through the security checkpoint with no incident with your weapon and with Silver's weapon in the toolbox.
Okay. That is a 12.
Did you roll it in the thing? Yeah, it did. It just
There we go.
The thing. All right, so you're dressed up as a workman. Just give me a high level. What do you say as you're going through the security checkpoint to distract the security guards?
Probably just something about how there's a problem down at the foot of the pylon again, and we need to go and fix it, or else the whole station's going to crumble. And then there's a bit of a giggle between us all because the security guards know how much this is falling apart, and we all know that really probably fixing this a little bit isn't going to make that much of a difference, but this is what we get paid to do, so we're going to do it anyway.
Alright, sounds good. So you guys are all in, and the mission is underway. So, what's next? What do you guys do? Oh, Ryan, we lost your audio.
Oh, sorry. Are we boarding the train now? And then, because I'm just wondering when I can put my rifle
I imagine
together.
It's just basically like a turnstile onto like a little short platform. It's not like a commercial platform. And there'd just be one train going one way and one train going the other way on 2 tracks on this maintenance circuit. So it's not like it's like a big to-do. Like you basically go through security and you're right there to get on a train.
Okay. As soon as I can do so inconspicuously, I would start to assemble my rifle so I'm ready.
Okay.
And maybe stash it under a seat somewhere or something.
Yeah.
I can grab it.
So, the train comes up, and it's got a fair bit of graffiti on it, and it also looks like it's kept in good shape from a maintenance perspective, but it's clearly like there's no focus on aesthetics on this train, right? It's purely service, so like some of the lights and panels are out and stuff, but the train is working, and you guys will just noticeably, most of the people just bunch up in the cars that are closest to the center of the platform. We'll say that initially you guys just board all the way at the end of the train, so you're the only 2 people in that car, which gives you the freedom to assemble your weapons and take your weapons out and get them ready.
I'm going to assess the situation to see if I can spot where the most likely point for the, based on where the train enters the station and how it comes to rest, assess where the corporate team is likely to board the train, and I'm going to make my way to the opposite end of the train. So suffice it to say, if they're at the back of the train and I move to the front of the train, that's probably going to cover all the bases, but I still want to grab some hold on the situation if I can.
Perfect. Yeah, go for it.
So I have no forwards, so boom. That's not good.
It's a 7.
Mixed success.
Mixed success.
It's one hold.
It's one hold.
Yeah, assess is one of the skills where there's not really a mixed success. It's just a less effective success, because I can't, like, have you looking around get too fucked up, right? You're just looking around. So you got one hold. So you want to ask the question?
Let's see here.
So you can. What is the potential complication? How to?
Yeah.
Yep.
I have it right here. So,
Right.
I'm gonna say, how is the structure of this train vulnerable to me for me to make my exit onto the outside of the train and then make my entrance once we know where the target is located?
Okay. So as you walk onto the platform as the train's approaching, you're able to take in a bunch of information really quickly. So you're able to basically, like, pull a schematic of the design of the train car off of public records pretty quickly with your access to the net that you have through Haastage mainframe. And it's the front and back doors. You could climb up in between any of the cars, but that would be a little bit more conspicuous. There's also just ladders onto the roof of the train on the front and back of the train. This train's fully operated. The operator are fully automated. There's no operator in the actual train, so you don't have to worry about there being, like, an engineer to see you. This is fully controlled by AI at another location.
Okay. So I'm going to board the train, and once I'm on board the train, I'm going to move to the next car, and as soon as the door is closed behind me, I'm going to get onto the outside.
Perfect.
So that's going to be a covert entry,
Correct.
and I'm going to roll cool, and I'm going to take one forward from my hold.
Hey, that's really good. So tell me what
That's
happens. That's pretty impeccable. That's what, 14? Yeah,
Yes.
14.
So that's gain 3 hold. So as the MC describes the infiltration and the security measures you must overcome, you may spend 1 hold to describe how you overcome the obstacle, and either bypass a security system or guard, disable a security system, escape notice. So yeah, I'm going to disable or bypass any security systems that may exist to prevent someone from doing so. I'm going to escape notice while I'm doing this, and then I will have 1 hold left over to get back into the train when the time comes.
Okay.
And in the meantime, I'm just Spider-Manning my way on the outside of this train.
Nice. So I'm gonna say what happens when you get out onto the train is there is you notice as you're climbing up the ladder that since this train is operated completely by remote AI with some sort of human overseer, as the train moves into motion, you notice like a rippling effect on the roof to detect if there's any unexpected weight or objects on the train, for maintenance and safety purposes. And you're very quickly able to find the control circuit that connects that on the roof panels of the trains, and you basically snap it as you climb onto the roof of the train, shorting it out, so it's just giving out no reading back to wherever central control is. And as far as escaping detection, I'm going to state that you basically find a way to avoid opening any of the doors or triggering any of the motion sensors as you're moving from car to car. So since you're on the roof of the train, you're essentially invisible to anybody who isn't observing you from off the train.
Excellent.
All right.
And then I have one hold left over to re-enter.
Perfect. All right, Trank, Silver, you guys are armed up. And you're on the far end of the train. So, workers come on, workers come off. Are you hiding your rifle at all, Silver, or are you just...
Yeah, it's under a seat, or it's under my seat.
Okay. So, a couple of guys come on before, onto this farther train car. They pull a couple hits off a flask and kind of eye you sheepishly before getting off and continuing to their workday. The train moving along the circuit in a big circle. Then it's going to hit the station where the pickup is going to happen. Then it's going to move 2 stations to where the drop is supposed to be.
Okay.
All right. So, you guys just going to see how the train loads up and use information and coordinate with Harlan as far as when you're going to actually
I think we're just waiting for the target to show up, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to try to get into any kind of camera systems analog?
I was planning on getting into the controls for the train,
Okay.
presumably to stop it.
What might also be helpful is any emergency alerts, so that we don't also have to deal with police.
Okay.
Okay.
So it looks like it's time to log back in.
Yeah, you got to jack in. And are you jacking in there?
Yep. So, not bad.
No.
I'll take the trace again.
Okay, so you're down to stealth 5.
Yep.
Okay. And
And,
you're into the system, and we're going to basically do something a little bit more reactive.
All right.
Rather than you being super proactive when nothing hasn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically going to say, you're into the system, and in your program, you see all the different tracks around the service levels of the Beanstalk, and they all look like old-timey trains, and the threads of data leading back to the Space Elevator Authority that controls them are like these curling columns of smoke winding up and connecting back to the Beanstalk itself that you're following.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Was it?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So you're in, and then we'll come back when you have a specific action that you want to take.
Okay.
And you can just chime in with that at any point when something unfolds, okay?
Yep.
All right. So when you guys arrive at the target station, target M1, the beginning of the circuit, a stark contrast happens. You guys can see through the windows going down the cars, even though the windows are kind of dirty, that several men, huge silver-sized men in suits, clamber onto the train with a stark contrast to the, street culture and worker culture people who are mostly on this train. And they have in tow with them a gentleman who has binders going completely over his hands with multiple bolts going in between them, keeping his hands immobilized. And he also has, basically, it looks like kind of like an adapted motorcycle helmet on that seems to be impeding his ability to see and his powers of speech. And couple people kind of eye them warily, and the men in suits just kind of shove everybody out of the way and make sure that they have a lot of space to sit down with this gentleman in
How
one
many
of the
men?
middle train cars. Huh?
How many men?
It's four suited men and the ostensibly the target, though you can't confirm because you can't see his face.
And can I see if they're armed?
I would say let's roll an assess roll.
Okay. Let's see. That is edge.
Yep. You don't see shit.
Okay.
So from here you can't see whether or not they're armed.
Is that a experience for me?
Yep.
What's the cutoff? Okay.
Okay. And then shortly after they sit down, the train lurches and starts moving towards station M2.
I turn to Trank and I say, punch or shoot.
Punch.
Okay. And I get up and start walking over to them. And so are they sitting in a line? How are they situated?
So what I would say would probably be the case is everybody else in this middle car is giving these guys a huge berth. So what's happening is off to the side, in the one side, there's the person with the bolt restraining bolts on, who's sitting down, and then on the seat on either side of him, you know how metro cars will usually have more traditional seats, and then they'll have one wall that's just like 5 seats next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be one guy on either side of him, and then standing up, facing them, is 2 more gentlemen holding on to the bar. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sorry. Yeah. So I think I
They basically
walk
are making
by.
a box around him. You know what I'm saying?
So I will very rudely brush past one of them, hitting him pretty hard with my shoulder, and see if he reacts to that as I walk by.
Okay. When you bump into him, he just kind of looks at you quietly, calmly. He just looks like he's got like no expression on his face, and he just kind of shoves you backwards roughly, and he says, "Stay out of our way." That's
Nobody
it.
shoves me, and I shove him back.
And he's just gonna very gently. He's gonna when you shove him and he actually moves, which he wasn't anticipating. There's a momentary flash of surprise on his face, and then he just kind of takes off his sunglasses and looks at you earnestly and says, "Young man, just mind your own business, please."
And I'm going to go for an uppercut to the gut and attack him.
All right. So I would say you haven't caught him completely unawares. You are being aggressive towards him, so let's mix it up, baby.
All right, and I do have a metal arm. That's the one I'm using to punch him.
Okay.
You have a
so
metal
that-
arm? That's so
I do-
cool.
You have a metal
Metal
body.
arms.
Yeah. One is super metal, I guess. So if I do end up landing a hit, that'll be +2 harm.
Okay, let's
Wow.
Uh,
let's do it.
So mix it up.
Whew.
I hit him
10's
pretty good.
You hit him pretty good. So,
You achieve your objective. Good job.
Yeah. So this is a fight, but I'm also going to be hopefully orienting the fight so they're fighting me towards the front of the train, to hopefully give Harlan a chance to sneak in behind.
yeah.
Draw them away.
Mhm.
Get to the next car if you can.
Yeah, so you catch him completely unaware, and the uppercut lands in his chest, or right below his rib cage, right? And you just kind of basically lift him off the ground. He doesn't quite hit the ceiling, but you're basically completely supporting his weight on his organs on your fist, and it's not very good really for anyone. And you just basically, he just kind of doubles over and crumples onto your fist and slides down. He's not out, but he is definitely stunned. But the other three, the two sitting down have snapped up to action, and the one who's standing near him is reaching in for a pistol.
Now, would you say this is a charged situation?
Yeah, 1,000%, I would say.
Okay, so in charged situations, I'm a serious badass. So I'm going to roll style. If I get 10 plus, I get 2 hold. 7 to 9, I get 1 hold. And I can spend those hold to make eye contact with an NPC, and they will freeze and be too afraid of me to act.
Okay, roll it.
So I'll roll style.
That's less.
I did not. Okay. So that's another experience for me, though, but nobody's scared of me today.
You wink at them.
Yeah.
All right.
So he's reaching for his pistol. I think I will draw my blade, my machete.
Okay. So that's it for right there. When you take that move and you basically punch him, and then you just try to basically intimidate the other ones. That momentary pause, one of the guys on the ground, or who is sitting down, just basically touches the side of his ear, and he's like, "We are under attack."
And this is where I'm going to spend my hold to negate an alert.
That's in the system. If you want to try to suppress their comms, you can do that, but that's another roll.
Nope. Yeah, then I can't do that. Okay.
Well, you can try to, once you see the signal going out, you can try to suppress it.
All right. How would I go about doing that? Do I need to log into another system?
No, you're logged in. This is the thing I was talking about, where you're basically waiting.
This would then be a...
Manipulate systems.
Or compromise security.
Whichever one you think would fit better. You're the one doing it. What do you feel that you're doing?
I guess it would be a system, wouldn't it? Because I'm not really...
Security means more the security of the system.
Yeah, so this will be a manipulate system.
What the hack looks like, and then roll it.
Okay, so I see probably the smoke coming out. It's a different color because it's different than the normal train thing itself. And I'm just going to try and throw a big old cyber blanket on it. Yeah. That'll, I guess, do it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yep. So I'll gain 3 hold, and I'm going to spend 1 to kind of have that just go nowhere.
Okay. So he prevents the mission clock from advancing. All right. Trank, what are you doing when Silver just kind of runs up and punches this guy in the gut and doubles him over?
So I figure at this point probably a bit of a crowd would have gathered around the brawl.
Well, once the gun gets drawn by the other guy, people just start moving away, and the doors on both sides of the car open as people start piling into other cars.
I think he probably would have reacted pretty much as soon as Silver said he was going to go and punch him in the gut. So he kind of gets up and follows Silver over, and around the same time that the guy is drawing the gun before people can move away, he kind of shoulder charges just a random bystander into the way of to just try and cause a bit of confusion.
Okay, roll act under pressure, I'd say.
Oh no.
Oh dear.
That will not do it.
Mark
You
experience.
tickle somebody.
Yeah.
No, what I'm gonna say is gonna happen here is when you act under pressure, and you completely fail. What I'm gonna say happens here is I'm gonna get to take a move against you.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna say happens is you roll in and you tackle this bystander, and you and him go tumbling into the other standing guard. And when you all go tumbling down, the gun discharges and it wounds the bystander, but it also sets off a gunfire alarm inside the train. So that is going to advance the mission clock.
Now, is
I feel
that
like-
something I can suppress as well?
No, because it's like hardwired into the safety features of the train. So when you basically tackle, you certainly cause a distraction, but now there's been gunfire on the train, and also there's a civilian that's been wounded as part of the mission.
I feel like gunfire wasn't far off anyway.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And now, if we go over here, the mission clock has progressed from 1500 to 1800. All right. So, Harlan, what are you doing while you're like coming down like a cat from the edge of the window watching this unfold?
What I'm waiting until there's only one person who's not engaged with them. How many have they drawn away from at least, say, 2 or 3 meters from the target?
So there's this scuffle going on in the center of the car. The other two gentlemen that were sitting down with Magnuson have picked him up, and they basically each have one hand on one of his shoulders, and they're trying to move him away from the scuffle towards the door leading to the front of the train.
Perfect. I'm going to hit them once they're between cars.
Okay. So the door opens, and the two of them file out basically in a line, kind of dragging him in between. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And then what do you do?
I am going to drop down. I'm going to make a non-lethal shot with my silenced pistol. I'm going to just take a leg shot on one of them, and the other one I'm going to hit with my hand taser.
Okay. Mix it up.
Mix it up. Where did I put that window? Mix it up is meat. And I'm going to use my one hold that I have, because now's the time.
That's pretty good.
Where did that window go?
That's 11. So you do it.
All right.
So you're just gonna jump down, shoot one of them in the leg, and
Yes.
kick him down onto the ground, and then tase the other one.
Yes, I have a hand taser.
Like it's your hand, like it's your actual hand. Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So, hand taser does 0 harm. Silenced semi-auto pistol does 2 harm.
What does the taser do then? Does it just stun them for a turn? Like, what's the mechanics?
You know what? That's in the
Let me see if I can find it.
that's in the playbook. Infiltrator. Gear. Hand taser.
S harm.
S harm.
I guess that's.
Just give me 1 second, I'll find it. $177. I haven't had anybody ever want to do non-lethal damage in this game.
They obviously lack morals and a code of ethics by which
And
they
directive
will abide by under any and all circumstances.
So, does it have a harm rating, or does it just say S harm?
It just says S harm.
I think that's stun harm, right?
Yeah.
But it still has an amount. All right.
They do not alter the character's
just
harm
roll, but
clock
doesn't do it, yeah.
directly, but they still force the victim to make the harm move.
Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna say that you, when you hit the guy with the gun, he's just falls into the door to the other cart, clutching his leg. His hands are off Magnuson entirely, and he just kind of falls down, clutching his leg, screaming because you just put a bullet in his leg. The other guy that you basically like jumped down and put a hand on his shoulder to steady yourself as you came down. The current runs through his body and he yells out in pain. And he's not looking great, but he's still got a hand on Magnuson, and now he's backing back into the other car, and he has his gun drawn, leveled over Magnus's shoulder at you. But you got the drop on him clean because you rolled a 10 up, so that he didn't get to do damage or harm back to you.
Magnuson's in deadly danger. I'm going to take the shot.
He's got a helmet on. What's the worst that can happen?
Okay, go ahead and mix it up. Rip. Mark experience.
I lost the window where it's actually showing me what my rolls are.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's 5.
5.
It's a 5.
Thankfully, I don't blow out Magnuson's eardrums because it is silenced at least.
You might blow something else out by mistake, though.
So you go to take the shot, and when you take the shot, right before you pull the trigger, you basically have like this overwhelming urge to follow the first directive, and at the last second, you just basically like your arm jerks the aim wide so that you'll have a guaranteed miss. And let me see what I'm gonna do here as far as a hard move. So I'm gonna reveal a personal complication. And I actually wrote this out ahead of time. And you have a fail-safe directive that's in place in case you are in a situation where you could murder someone.
Awesome. I love it. Make me regret being, well, instantiated.
So you basically are like your programming is overwhelming your ability to act right now. So, Trank and Silver, you hear these shots ring out in between the cars. What are we doing?
So I've got a guy between me and that car, right? Still, a guy standing.
Yeah.
All right. Can I check?
No, I think they're all down now, aren't they? Because I knocked a guy over, you punched a guy in the gut, and the other two people.
Yeah, he's down on the ground. He's not out. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like he's not removed from the combat. Like the guy that you cold cocked and smashed his liver.
But I could theoretically jump over that guy then and run to the car.
Yeah, you tell me what you do, and then I tell you how complicated it is.
Okay, yeah. So I try to make my way to the car where Harlan is.
Okay, so you're going to try to basically leap over this guy and get to the door to the car and ambush this guy from behind?
Would it be behind? Isn't he facing?
He's facing
forward?
out the door towards where Harlan is. Because
Harlan came in.
He was backing away from you and trying to get into the other car, and then Harlan cut him off. So now Harlan shot at him, so he's facing Harlan.
Okay. So do I have a clear line of sight to shoot him from where I'm at?
Yeah, you could shoot him in the back from where you are.
Okay. Yeah, I have. I've got a pistol. And I will take that shot then.
Okay. I'm also going to point out that while this entire scene is going on, you have just probably 4 guys who didn't make it out of the car in time who are just freaking the fuck out while all this is happening.
I can shoot them too if you want. I have my rifle.
I mean, I
can
don't
shoot
want
multiple
anything.
Okay, no, I'm just gonna shoot the one guy with my pistol, which is it's a 2 harm, close and near. So mix it up.
Mix it up, baby. Man, you guys are doing not great. At least you got... No, you got a 6.
Experience.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is you line up the pistol shot, and you go to shoot the shot, and right as you're about to pull the trigger, the train like rumbles over a rough part of track, and the bullet just goes slightly wide and pings off of the frame of the train. And the guard takes his machine pistol and fires back at you and does 2 harm back to you.
So I have body armor.
Okay.
Which gives me 2 armor. So that would not do any damage to me.
Okay. So the bullets just ripple across your chest as he just kind of unloads back at you with his machine pistol. And then I'm also gonna get to do this as he now uses the like the panic button that he has on his mission set suit.
Analog.
Well,
he's pressing a button.
All right. Oh, whoops! I just got coffee all over myself. One thing that Analog does notice, being into the system, is that there's radio chatter coming from an encrypted circuit on at station M2 that you're picking up, but you can't, without digging deeper, actually figure out what the signal is. But it's like a high security, like high encryption, very strong frequency coming out of the other station that is now just like kind of leaped to life. So you basically see it like a beacon, like stretching up into the sky from that station. What do you do?
Would I be able to silence that?
You can try, or you can. You're gonna have to log into that band specifically. So actually, I'll say compromise security since you're already in to the Matrix.
All right.
So that's a mind roll.
Okay. Six, 7, 8, 9. All right.
That's good.
Yep. And what I'm gonna say happens is she floods that frequency with basically gibberish.
Okay.
A couple radio stations.
So whatever they're saying is still going through, but they're not going to be able to hear it?
Yeah, or it's getting lost within everything else.
Nice.
So you are going to be able to trigger an alert.
Okay. So what I'm going to have happen is I'm going to activate... I'm going to activate a piece of ice.
Okay.
So a piece of blue ice. Oh, actually, I've got stuff for this. Ho, 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 ho.
Oh.
Ho, 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 ho. I know I wrote it down somewhere. So this is going to be more exciting to the other people in here, but So as you basically like take out your magnifying glass like you were using before, which zooms in on the signal, then you see the stream and you start just like throwing crap into it. These rolling blue chains start moving towards you inside of the net, and one of them kind of swats out at you, tries to wrap around your wrist in cyberspace, and it's just basically like this rolling sphere of different chains and locks that is chasing after you.
Okay.
Can anybody guess what ice that is?
I think you called it. You name dropped it already.
Did I? What did I call it?
You said the chains try and wrap around you.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, it's trying to boot you out of the system.
All right. Let's see if I can melt that ice then.
All right, let's do it. Let's get some more 6s, guys. I really love those. Let's.
I'm sure you do.
So this will be an edge roll to melt the ice.
Correct. Rip.
8. All right. So I will evade, destroy, or temporarily disable. I think I'm going to destroy it. So she's going to pull out that Gatling gun again and just start cranking into it. Chains flying this way, that way, links going everywhere. But you will be able to execute a routine before it goes down.
Perfect. That's what I wanted anyway. Ba-ba-ba. Ba-ba-ba. So I am going to execute the subroutine. Identify intruder. Advance a corresponding corporate clock.
Now, I'm going to use my console cowboy, that one hold I have, to prevent you from triggering that.
Okay. That's probably for the best. For your long-term safety.
Mm-hmm. But that's the only one I have. So.
Okay. All right. So let's jump back. Harlan, what are you doing?
What can I do? You tell me.
You tell me what you do. So there's 2 guys on the ground, or one guy basically...
Let me clarify. What effect is this Phantom Directive having on me in terms of preventing me from taking action? Am I under constraints?
You're under constraints where you can't take an action that could result in the death or serious injury of a living person.
All right. Well, he turned his back to me to spray and pray at Silver, so I think I'm just going to tase him from behind.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. I'm not going to say that this is a mix it up. Roll act under pressure, actually, I think, based on the fact that you're trying to overwhelm or overwrite this pressure that you're feeling from your directives. Does that seem fair?
Yeah. Shoot. Hold on. My window is doing something funny.
Take your time. We're not going anywhere. I love this little cutout. Looks so good.
There it goes. Act under pressure. 9.
Man, you guys are rolling pretty good. All right.
So now we are.
So he's going to make a harm roll for stun damage.
Okay. All right. So, based on the damage that you did to him earlier, he's going to crumple down to the ground unconscious. But as you're doing that, I have to offer you a hard bargain. So I'm going to say, as you reach out with your hand taser and you stun him, this can go through exactly as you originally described it, but it will base your directive will disable that arm so that you can't use it to prevent you from causing further harm to a living being.
So I can either abort the action or lose the arm?
Lose control over the arm temporarily.
How temporarily?
I'd say at least the duration of this scene.
Okay. How aware am I of that going into the action?
You're basically trying to push through, and it's like a Evil Dead, like hand has a mind of its own thing, where you're really having to like push in a way that you normally don't. Like you're somebody who has very fluid and articulated control over your body as a infiltration bioroid, and it's like your body is fighting you, and it's like it's sluggish like the first time you powered up in the factory.
Okay, I know what you're talking. I get what you're picking up what you're laying down. So we are going to abort that action.
Okay, so at the last second, the sparks arcing out from between your fingertips, you just pull it back, and your arm snaps back to like full function and full articulation.
Okay, so that's my action.
All right,
catch me next round.
Trank, what are we doing?
So I'm on the ground. I've got a wounded person on top of me.
Yeah, he's also just like wailing at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I'm gonna shove the guy off me and pull out my pistol and try and take a shot at the guy that's on the ground. The big suit that's on the ground.
Okay. So you're just kind of like on the ground with him, so I'm going to say this is a mix-it-up roll because he's also had his gun drawn when he got pulled to the ground.
Okay.
Is there something, would this be a situation, I'm very close to this, should I help?
Yeah, if you'd like.
Or was there like an assist?
You can try to assist, but it's shared victory, shared defeat.
I think it's links.
Yeah, it's
roll
link.
for that.
Let me look at what our link is. Are we?
We have one link, I think. Do we?
Okay.
So you would add that to his roll, I believe, right? It's just adds one.
Okay. So like, yeah, I think that probably makes sense. Like, this is a pretty crucial moment. Try to take this guy out. So maybe I'm still standing there and this guy's on the ground. So maybe I like put a foot on him to try to hold him down so you can shoot him or something.
Sure.
Yeah, it works.
So I get +1 to my roll.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Hey, 10.
Yeah, I shot a dude.
So yeah, Silver basically puts his heavy booted foot on the guy's the crook of his elbow, so he can't bring his gun arm to bear, and then it enables you to just basically take him out with a precise shot or two to the chest. So all of the guards now, except for the one that Harlan is dancing with, has been disabled. So we're 3 down now.
And that guard is engaging with Silver, right? He doesn't actually.
He's
still got his back to me.
Silver. That's correct.
Can I? Okay. Was that help my action, or can I take an action now?
You can still take an action.
I rush him with the machete.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Mix it up.
All right. It's the only thing I'm good at, guys.
What, physical violence?
Yep. At a 9.
So I get to choose 2. I'm going to say you mix it up, and he's just like, what the fuck, as you come charging up, and he pops off a couple shots. And this time he will get a good connection. He's going to do a total of 4 harm as he empties his machine pistol into you as you run forward. Your armor taking the brunt of the shots.
Okay.
And then...
So I take 2 harm then?
Correct.
On my clock? So that takes me to 18?
Correct.
Okay.
And then you just wail on him with the machete and beat the shit out of him.
Do I roll? Do I also roll harm?
Yeah, roll it.
Okay. And then I have dermoplating, so I will be subtracting 2 from the roll. Or does that pistol have the flechette tag that he's shooting me with?
No, it's just bullets.
Okay. So I'll subtract 2 from this roll. So that's roll harm. Harm suffered 2, right?
Yep.
And I subtract 2 from that roll.
So that's
making it a 5. 7, yeah, 7 minus 2.
Okay.
So 5.
All right.
So what does that mean on the rolling harm? So nothing happens. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The
I hit him
harm
with...
roll is the one thing that you want to roll low on.
Right. Okay. So my cyber arm gives +2 harm. My machete does 3 harm natively, so that's 5 harm
Yeah, you
against
just
him.
bury it into the side of his neck, and blood comes spurting out and sprays.
And I pull it.
Yeah.
So,
Comes
so
spraying
he goes
out
down
all over
hard.
the inside of the car, and he is down and out for the count.
All right. I think I'd like to manipulate a system at this point.
All right, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna have it blow past the next station and not do its normal stop.
So it's not going to stop at Station 1?
Yep. Since I'm farther down with the van.
And
Okay.
authorities are probably waiting at the next station, so that makes
Yep.
sense.
All right. So it's just going to blow past the station. When that happens, I am going to advance a relevant corporate clock.
Okay.
Because that's a good move, but it's...
It's
going-
noticeable.
Obvious as hell. That's gonna make the evening news.
Yeah. So you go blowing through the station. At this point, once things kind of calm down, every civilian on the train basically moves to the opposite end of the train away from you. You guys are now just alone with this figure who has this motorcycle helmet and these hand immobilization bracers on. When you
I had me to walk to the front of the car and retrieve my my big rifle.
Okay.
So I walk away from the situation. I don't care about dealing with him.
Okay.
I'm going to get on my pad. I'm going to download some first aid skill wires, and I'm going to administer first aid to our opponents.
Could you do it to the guy that got shot by mistake?
No, he didn't get shot by mistake. He got shot on purpose. But yeah, I'm going to start with him.
Trank is going to go through the guard's pockets and see if he can find anything of use or value.
Nope. They're pretty scrubbed clean. Are you guys? Is anybody gonna check to make sure that's actually Damian Magnuson under there?
Silver
can't
can do that.
anything.
I guess, yeah. So I walk back to the back and I guess take his helmet off. I've got my rifle now slung on my back.
So when you take the helmet off of him, he's like, because you're not the people that he's anticipating, and there's this scene of violence. It's like a sensory deprivation helmet. So he just starts freaking the fuck out. Who the fuck are you? What the fuck's going on? Why? What's happened?
I just push him towards Trank because I don't talk to people.
So one thing that's notable, I do want to briefly describe Damian Magnuson. He's a very well-kept, middle-aged man with a gray beard, like a silver beard, and like shock white hair that's kept, well, looks like it's generally kept very neat and tidy. Both of his eyes have been replaced with the most effective and most expensive cyber eyes that HB makes, but they're the ones that are really, really noticeable as not being biological eyes. Like, he basically has like 2 scopes for eyes. And he also, you'll notice that both of his arms have been replaced to the shoulder with Bioroid style arms, and all of his fingers look like they're articulated with different tools built into the fingertips. Like, he's basically has transformer arms, like the highest grade cybernetics that exists.
So we'll be leaving him handcuffed for the time being.
All right, so are you gonna put the helmet back? Trank, what are you doing? He's just like, what is the fuck is going on? Are you guys gonna kill me?
No, we're not going to kill you. We're here to rescue you.
Rescue me? So who are you working for?
I'm not going to tell you that at this moment.
Well, that's just fucking great. So who are you giving? You don't know who you're giving me over to?
I didn't say that. I just said I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. Well, they're definitely
I kind of
gonna
gesture-
fucking kill all of us now. So do you have a plan where that doesn't involve us all getting killed?
Yes. I don't want to explain the plan too much in case they're listening to it. Just that we didn't come in here without a way out.
Would this be a good time to? Are we putting him in the box, or are we just going to walk him out of there?
I mean, I think at this point they're going to be checking everything.
You brought in a toolbox. You're not stuffing a grown man into a toolbox.
I said it was a big enough box for a guy, but okay.
Yeah, no, you're not stuffing him into a crate. He's not going to go into that crate without violence.
That was going to be my plan. I was going, if the firefight went badly, I was going to grab him by the neck, stuff him into the box, and then throw the box off the train.
That's not a great. Yeah, that's not great. That's how
Silver,
you
get it into the box.
You get like man pudding. He just be like blood pudding.
All right, fine. But I put the helmet back on him.
Yeah, you're like, listen, this is going to be better for you in the long run. All right, he is not very pleased about it, but you put the helmet back on him. All right, so you blow past Station 1 and you start heading towards Station 2, where Analog has confirmed that some sort of force is waiting to pick him up. So what do you guys do?
How's the first aid going?
Is there I don't think there's a specific first aid roll, is there? I don't think so. Oh,
it's under skill chips.
Under cool? Or act under pressure,
yeah,
maybe?
Apply first aid.
There why don't you just roll cool?
There you go.
That's pretty good. Yeah. So you're not you're able to completely stabilize everybody.
Even the guy who got a machete to the neck?
No, he's dead.
Okay.
He's dead.
I didn't do that, so it's not my problem.
Everybody who is injured but not dead, he manages to stabilize.
But they're like still like out, like unconscious and whatever. Okay.
Yeah. But like no one's gonna bleed out. How's that? Before they get proper medical care.
All right.
Yeah,
Silver's
you just
not too happy about
dude.
this because it's witnesses. It's people who've seen us.
I mean, there's a lot of people on this train who saw you guys.
Yeah, that's true. I would kill them all if it were up to me, but
smoking like a true professional. All right. So, what's the plan for getting off the train?
I was gonna stop the train by the van.
Okay. Go ahead and you need to roll to do such a thing. I want you to roll manipulate systems.
And that is synth?
Correct.
Yep. Okay. And I'm gonna cash in my intel from the legwork phase. She got schematics on how the trains operate while she was digging around in the systems.
Yeah, engage that system, baby. All right, do it.
I did say synth, right? Yep, I did. Okay. So that gets me a beautiful one forward. And yeah.
That's a really good roll. So describe to me what it looks like in cyberspace.
First off, I calmly tip her and be like, maybe hold on to something. And in cyberspace, she's, jumps onto the engine, goes for that big old hand crank, and just pulls on it. There's sparks flying everywhere.
Okay. So the engine comes grinding to a halt, or not the engine, but like basically the maglev, like emergency brakes, lock on, and the current starts running through the tracks. So the train comes to a pretty abrupt stop with everybody lunging forward and the wounded people just basically sliding across the floor of the car.
All right, I'm gonna say Silver moves pretty quickly to get the door open.
Okay.
So he's probably trying to pry it open with his metal arm.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it doesn't open on its own.
You are going to have to pry it open, because when the train stops, the doors just, like, lock for safety.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and roll I guess just a meat.
Okay.
Or a body.
Meat probably makes the most sense for me.
Yeah, meat.
I'm trying to look here. No, it doesn't look like Cyberarm helps me. Okay.
Yeah, so just roll that meat, Rip.
I didn't get my footing wasn't right.
Anybody else?
I
Actually,
guess
I have to make that suck in some way. What do I want to do here? So as you're struggling to try to rip open the door and basically get your fingers inside of the seam, so you can actually like get purchase on the door and pull it open, this drone comes down with this little light on it, and you can see written on the side of it, it's NBN Action News, and it just does a sweep on the glass window of the door, and your face is right there as you are trying to pull the door open.
Oh, that's real bad for me.
Oh, don't worry, we'll lose the 2 tags at the end of the turn.
I can get you in. I can get you a new face. It's fine.
Is this hard-hitting news or is this breaking news?
It's probably breaking news.
Oh, that's worse, I think.
Now, is this something where I could override the system locks?
You're in that system, so you could try to do another manipulate the system roll. You've already used up all your bonuses to try to unlock the door.
I guess that's something we're going to have to do, right?
Yeah. This is what you're here for.
I mean, unless I can punch out a window or something, if you wanted to yeah, I don't know.
Either one's fine.
I'll go for it. What's the worst that can happen?
That. Mark experience.
Okay.
As you try to unlock the door on the train, and you fail to like finesse the system, whatever device you use to work, keep track of your actual work with the Space Elevator Authority, comes up as a ping. We have a system intrusion. All sys operatives report to your terminals to combat the intruder. You're basically getting a call to come to work to fight yourself.
Well, I guess it's time to jack out. So
right.
This probably would be a act under pressure log out.
It would be the jack out. Yeah, the cool.
Yeah. Which I'm pretty awful at.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that's a 9? Yeah.
Yep. So
So you choose.
I can't really lose any data for this, so that's out. I guess I'll take some. I'll just have them trace me to my current location, since we're going to be moving shortly, anyways.
Okay, so noted. All right.
So yeah, I'm gonna say Silver just goes, God damn it, and just takes a step back and draws his rifle.
And just like
I'm gonna shoot the window out.
Okay,
I've
then
got a high power rifle.
You don't have to roll for that. You probably have to put 2 bullets since it's like plexiglass, and then punch it to actually shatter it or hit it with the butt of the gun. You know what
it's got a burst fire mode, so yeah, I'll just put a burst into it and then punch it out.
Yep, perfect. Okay, so the door's out, and you guys are gonna get down to the street level where the van is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Moving as quickly as possible, I'd say.
Yeah.
I've got Magnuson
carrying?
like by the scruff, like holding him down, so in case there's fire, he doesn't get hit.
Okay, I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. So you guys get down to the van, and it's like that wizard van that I put the picture of in the Discord that you guys rented. You guys all pile into the back of it and start driving away.
And as we're driving, I hold up a bag and I say, "Does anyone need a taco?"
Who can actually drive? Because I'm gonna have it basically be that we need to actually have somebody roll a drive, because NAPD is gonna start pressing in on the location because of
skill wires.
Let the robot drive. Yeah.
Okay, roll it.
I explicitly have access to the extreme driving skill. So those are my skill wires for the. I get two. I have 2 skill chips. One of them's first aid. One of them's extreme driving.
Extreme driving.
That's probably either act under pressure or. Yeah, probably act under pressure. I think. Let's see if it's in the index.
So as Harlan puts metal to the pedal to the metal, and you guys start peeling out, Magnuson getting jostled around in the back with all of you. The hoppers come down from high altitude and start following along at street level with the red and blue lights following you at speed, but you're on the ground and able to fit into tighter places than the hoppers, so Harlan has a chance to get away here down in the slum level.
I'm just not seeing anything for driving. I'm about to look under the driver playbook.
I think it's just act under pressure. And then you would just add 1 for your special ability.
Alright, we're up. Come on, paint. God damn it!
Cool.
Switch screens. Whoops. Okay. I get to show you the barrel of a gun. So, as you're driving and trying to get away, one of the drones comes down and basically does a visual sweep of the automobile and shoots an EMP like spike into the hood of the car. And when that happens, the EMP bolt also ripples through you. You
Lovely.
take 4 harm.
So roll it,
Yep.
and input 4, and
So that's a 10.
I don't think you
Ouch.
add that. Do you add the harm stuff? Oh yeah, you do. Okay. Yeah.
So what does that get you on the harm roll?
that's a total of 10. I don't know what I don't know how that breaks down into my harm clock.
It's you still take the 4 harm, but you choose 1 out of a 10 plus list.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the sheet for it.
It's you're out of action, unconscious, trapped, incoherent, or panicked. Take the full harm of the attack before it was reduced by armor. If you already took the full harm of the attack, take +1 harm. Lose a piece of cyberware until you can get it repaired, or lose a body part.
So those are your choices, my dude.
Hold on. Harm 4.
There has been a surprise. I hope everybody's marking down all these less than 6s that they're rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
this is my 3rd one. I know I had at least 1. I've had 2 this game and 1 last game, I believe. At least 1 last game. Oh, where is it? Sorry, I don't see what page these options are for the harm
All
clock.
right. So you can either be out of the action.
Mm-hmm.
You take the full harm of the attack. +1.
Mm-hmm.
You lose a piece of cyberware or you lose a body part. Your choice.
But the cyberware can get repaired. It's not just blown up.
Let's see. What's my cyberware? I think I'm probably going to have to I'm going to have to shunt it into a piece of cyberware. So that is going to be.
So you still take on your harm clock the 4 segments.
Oh wait. Oh, I forgot my synthetic nerves. When I'm acting under pressure, in situations where reaction time is critical. So that would have actually been +1.
So that would have been
to
a
my
7.
prior roll. That would have put me at a 7.
Okay. All right. So you get the 7. So I'm gonna say that you still get hit with the EMP, but you manage to get basically under an old overpass and into an old tunnel that the hoppers can't follow you into and get away, but you're still going to take the harm as the spike basically buries itself into the console as you drive away. So we'll just say that you shunt it into the cyberware and you take the 4 harm as you make this desperate escape attempt.
All right, so I have noted that my synthetic nerves have been trashed.
Okay. So you guys escape with Mr. Magnuson and take him to the safe house, the motel in Rutherford that there's already a room rented under a pseudonym that was provided to you ahead of time. You know, Mr. Jacobs, something innocuous. It's all been completely paid for, and the picture on the hotel registration is Mr. Magnuson. So you guys are going to have to, like, unhandcuff him and shit to drop him off here. You can't, like, take him into a hotel in it, or check him into a motel in thusly restrained. So what are you going to do?
I think Silver basically like shows him like opens his jacket, shows him like his knife and his gun, and then like kind of like tells him like shushes him, be quiet.
Do we have the ability to get him out of those cuffs?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I wasn't clear on that.
So, but yeah, I want him to feel a little bit intimidated by me, that he's not going to do anything stupid.
So you're going to be like, listen, we can mess you up, and also where we're taking you is probably going to be a lot better than wherever they were going to end up taking you.
Yeah.
Would that be your total badass role?
This isn't really a charge situation, I wouldn't say. And I guess it theoretically could be playing hardball, but I'm not necessarily like negotiating with him. I'm just telling him, like, just chill out. Like, this is fine, but don't do anything crazy.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
All right. So you're going to get him, and he's going to say, all right. I don't want any trouble. Especially when you pull up the hotel and he sees that, like, you're not taking him to, like, a fucking warehouse or, like, a black site. He's like, okay. And then I'm assuming you're just going to give him the instructions, like, on his pad, like, who he's supposed to be waiting for, and the marching orders that they're giving him at the safe house.
Mm-hmm. Do we trust to, like, leave him here, or should
your mission was to get him into the room here?
So once he's in, we're done.
You're supposed to deliver him to a room here.
Okay.
So you guys deliver him here, and then from here, basically, you go right to the payment phase, the getting paid phase of the mission. So the final part of this session. So somebody's going to have to roll 2d6. So somebody just roll a stat that they have a 0 in.
Trank.
And then we're going to add 3 to it because there's 3 unfilled segments on the legwork clock.
Okay, I'm going to roll...
So it's good that we didn't fill the legwork clock?
Yes.
Correct. The more you fill the legwork clock, the more you pre-complicated the mission, so the more likely people are to fuck you over during the payment phase because they've decided you're too much of a liability, or you made the job too messy, right? So that's a 6 plus another 3 is a 9. So 7 to 9, you get to choose one from the following list. It's not a setup or an ambush. You are paid in full. The employer is identifiable. The meeting doesn't track the attention of outside parties, or you learn something from the mission and everyone marks experience.
So does that mean that if whichever one we pick, all of the other things do happen, or so like if we pick that it's not a setup or an ambush, we won't get paid in full, somebody will know about it, or is it just like you get to pick and choose from the other ones?
So it's not that automatically the other ones are true. All of the other ones are true. It's that mission appropriate ones I'm gonna fire of my discretion based on what I planned at the beginning of during the planning phase of the mission and what happened during the mission clock. But you guys get to choose this as a group.
What do we think?
So let's say you guys are driving to the rendezvous point for the payment. You guys are discussing this in the car. Play it out as your characters.
Some of this feels like out of game. Like we don't really know.
You can ask out of game.
I don't want to
questions.
be on the news.
This feels a little bit like it could be a setup.
It does, doesn't it? And I guess you're already on the news, Silver. So there's no way it's going to go unnoticed.
I can get you a new face. I've got storage.
What is one more person after me at this point?
Yeah.
It's
So you
going to
wanna-
take a great deal of effort to remove all traces of this record
Yeah.
from the net.
I propose we take the money.
You want to get paid in full?
We all staked quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. But if we're ambushed,
I can handle an ambush.
all right, that works for me then.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
you pull into the parking lot of like a large corporate park that includes some retail establishments. Like there's a net cafe here and like a bunch of like retail establishments as well as some high profile office space, but it's kind of laid out in a way where all of the buildings create like a perimeter, and then there's a one parking lot in and one parking lot out type deal, or one driveway in, one driveway out type deal. So what I'm gonna say is, when you pull in and park at the rendezvous point, Trank, you're the one who got the mission. So you get a ping on your pad from Ultraviolet, and she just says, "Well, you certainly did it. Here's your money, just as I promised. Sorry I couldn't help with the rest. Good luck." So, before we do anything else, what did everyone stake on the mission?
2.
2.
2?
So,
And you guys
Okay.
did the job pays well as one of the choices, right?
Yep. Or wait.
What were the 2 that you picked? Let me... You guys picked... It does... The mid... Yeah, you guys picked Intel. The initial meeting didn't attract attention. And you picked the increased money. So you guys
Okay.
get triple instead of double.
That's nice.
So six apiece.
Correct. 6 cred. Go ahead and mark that. And as
Okay.
the final message comes in, Trank, sorry I couldn't help with the rest.
That doesn't sound ominous at all.
Right after that message comes in, 2 black suburban style vehicles come into the parking lot and park on the 2 parking spaces on either side of the van. And a very tall, fair-haired gentleman in an immaculate deep purple suit and a black tie gets out of the car and just very gently taps a gloved 2 fingers on the window, and he's going to say, "Follow me, and we won't have any problems." And then he's basically going to whisper a command code, and Harlan, you're going to respond with, I understand and will follow your directives.
I understand and will follow your directives.
And that's where we're going to end it, as you guys are moved off to an undisclosed location. All right. So,
Cool.
how much did everybody mark the EXP that they got?
Yep.
Since the advancement doesn't make for super great content, we'll do that in the Discord, and then we'll just make sure that we go over any advancements or upgrades that you take at the start of the next session, where we will move on to the complications and fallout of this mission. This is where the clocks are at the end of this first hostage situation mission. I'll go ahead and leave the mission clock but clear the legwork clock. And we had the Space Elevator Authority go up by 1 tick. And with the news presence, I'm also going to increase global sex threat level by 1 level. All right. Gentlemen, thank you very much for the great session.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We decided that Global Sec knows that Harlan is independent.
Yes.
They
That
just
was
haven't
one of the
decided what to
reasons
do
why
with
we
it.
escalated them slightly at the beginning of the game.
Fun times.
Yep. All right. Everybody watching, thank you very much for joining us. And until we see you again, always be running.